If you struggle with shyness or social anxiety, check out our free No BS training course with actual useful advice you can do from home. None of that just get out there nonsense. The link is in the description below. For now, let's get to today's question.
The question, how is social anxiety different from autism or Asperger's? Answer by Spencer Roberts. Maria Arinjarna offers the best answer to this question, but I would add that ASD disorders are neurological disorders and social anxiety disorder is a psychiatric disorder. Social anxiety is considered a comorbid of autism, and that a lot of autists like myself may develop it in later life. Not all autists have social anxiety, and not all persons with social anxiety have autism. I would also offer that the DSM is frequently quoted as the Bible in our various fields, but it is also frequently updated and revised as research changes, and that it is sometimes simply flat out wrong. I am thrice diagnosed with ASD, and enrolled in 3 large collegiate studies, and I do not show criteria A or D in the DSM definition, as I have now been doing remedial social integration training for over 20 years and thus have largely reached a point of social integration. I do, however, show some of the criteria that are showing up in newer research, such as a very poor time sense and a poor sense of intuitive social timing, the kind that allows you to tell a joke well or tease someone in a kindly fashion. The field I am in, neuropsychology with a speciality in ASD/PDD, is a rapidly evolving field, and it is also very full of controversy. That said, again, autism is neurologic, genetic, and epigenetic. Social anxiety is psychiatric, and more likely environmentally caused. Answer by Trevor Barange. A disorder that makes it hard to socialize is not an accurate definition for autism. While true to an extent, it is not a defining factor of autism. Autism is a developmental disorder, which causes the wiring in an individual's brain wiring to be very distinct to that of a neurotypical's. A symptom most prominent in autism is hypersensitivity. Our differently wired brains don't possess a natural filter for information like neurotypicals do. So the feeling of sand between one's toes, or the snot-like texture of tomatoes, or a variety of other things you might not even think about, are extraordinarily hard to endure. And let me specify the following: it's not that we don't have a filter at all. We just don't have an adaptable filter. Our bar always remains in the same place, adapting only over years and years of normalization for a certain stimulus. It is unlike that of neurotypicals, as most have the benefit of a quickly adaptable filter. The higher the tolerance the filter has, the higher functioning one can be deemed. Another prominent symptom is elevated levels of stimming. You know, that thing where you flap your hands? I'm kidding, of course. Stimming is a set of simple stimuli patterns that cancel out the excess information we generally receive. Neurotypicals are also known to do this to a less notable extent, such as tapping their fingers, or rubbing their thumbs against their index finger. Flapping one's hands is definitely a common thing amongst autists though. At any rate, I see that you'd find it a negative thing to suffer from autism. English is limited in wording, so suffering is a very close approximation of what I'm attempting to get across. Well, allow me to assure you, that if you've made it this far without being completely miserable, you're probably fine. Unless you're around 12 to 14 years of age. Then to you I'd say, just power through. Life's a bitch for most people. Anywho, and thanks for the request. Or, A2A is what they're calling it? Correct me if I'm mistaken. N.K. Answer by Jessica Taylor. Autism is a complex developmental disorder, which has many aspects and symptoms. Autistic people have difficulty reading nonverbal social signals and understanding other people's thoughts and motivations. This often causes them to be social outcasts, or have trouble forming and maintaining relationships, which may lead to them developing social anxiety. But not all autistics have social anxiety, and not all people with social anxiety are autistic. They're 2 distinct conditions.